Hello, everyone. This is Laura, and welcome back to Become a Fluent English Speaker. Today, I want to talk about something we all do. We look at a task and think, that will only take 10 minutes. Then 30 minutes later, we're still doing it. Have you ever experienced that? I certainly have. One morning, I had an appointment at 10 o'clock. I looked at the time. It was 9:15. I thought, perfect. I have plenty of time. I needed to take a shower, get dressed, have breakfast, find my keys, walk to the bus stop, take the bus, then walk from the bus stop to the appointment. It didn't sound like much. I thought I could do everything easily. So I stayed in bed for another 10 minutes. Then I took a shower. Then I couldn't decide what to wear. Then I made some breakfast. Then I realized I couldn't find my keys. I searched my room. They weren't there. I checked the kitchen. Nothing. Finally, I found them inside my jacket. By the time I left the house, it was 9:50. I looked at the clock and thought, okay, I can still make it. I walked quickly to the bus stop. Then I waited and waited. The bus was late. When I finally arrived at my appointment, I was 20 minutes late. I felt terrible, but something bothered me. Why had I been so confident that I had enough time? I hadn't deliberately planned to be late. I had simply imagined that every part of my morning would go perfectly. And that's the problem. We often plan for the ideal version of events. We imagine that the shower will take 5 minutes, getting dressed will take 5 minutes, breakfast will take 10 minutes, finding our keys will take 30 seconds, the bus will arrive immediately, everything will go smoothly. But real life doesn't work that way. There are delays, distractions, unexpected problems, small interruptions, and these little things add up. This is related to something psychologists call the planning fallacy. The planning fallacy is our tendency to underestimate how much time a task will require. We think this will be quick, but then reality surprises us. Think about writing an email. You might think, I'll finish it in 5 minutes. Then you open the email. You read the previous messages. You think about your response. You rewrite one sentence. You check your grammar. You read it again. Then you realize you need to find a document. 20 minutes have passed. The same thing happens when learning English. You might think, I'll study for 30 minutes. Then you spend 5 minutes choosing what to study. You find a vocabulary video. You pause to write down new words. You look up one word, then you discover another interesting video. Before you know it, 30 minutes are gone, but perhaps you only practiced English for 10 minutes. This doesn't mean you're lazy. It means your original plan didn't include all the small steps. I've learned to handle this by doing something very simple. I had extra time. If I think something will take 20 minutes, I give myself 30. If I need to arrive somewhere at 10, I don't plan to leave at 9:45. I try to leave earlier. This extra time is sometimes called a buffer. A buffer is additional time kept available in case something unexpected happens. It sounds simple, but it can completely change your day. You stop rushing. You stop feeling stressed. And when something goes wrong, you have room to deal with it. There's another useful habit. Instead of asking, how long should this take? Ask, how long did this take the last time? That's a much better question. If you wrote an article last week and it took 2 hours, don't assume today's article will take 30 minutes just because you feel confident. Look at your previous experience. Your past can give you useful information. This is also helpful when learning English. Maybe you think, I can memorize 50 new words today. You try it. By the next morning, you remember only a few. Instead of feeling disappointed, look at what actually worked. Maybe 10 words stayed in your memory. That's useful information. Next time, try 10 words again. Good planning isn't about predicting the future perfectly. It's about learning from reality. I started applying this idea to almost everything. Cooking, writing, traveling, studying, getting ready in the morning. Even simple errands. I stopped assuming that everything would go perfectly, and strangely, I became less stressed. When something took longer than expected, I wasn't surprised. I had already left some room for it. That's an important lesson. Sometimes stress doesn't come from having too much to do, it comes from believing we have more time than we actually have. If you think you have plenty of time, you may delay. Then the deadline gets closer. You rush, your stress increases, your work becomes less enjoyable. But if you start earlier, you give yourself breathing room. You don't have to work faster. You simply give yourself more time. This is especially useful when speaking English. Don't rush because you're afraid of making a mistake. Take your time, pause, think, then continue. Good communication isn't a race. You don't need to speak as quickly as possible. You need to communicate clearly. And just like managing your time, managing your speech becomes easier when you stop putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. Before we finish today's podcast, let's learn some useful English vocabulary from today's story. Assessment means to make a judgment about how much time, money, or effort something will require. Underestimate means to think something will require less time or effort than it actually requires. Delay means something happens later than expected. Unexpected means something you did not expect to happen. Buffer means extra time kept available in case something takes longer than planned. Deadline means the final time by which something must be completed. Rush means to do something very quickly because you don't have enough time. Predict means to say what you think will happen in the future. Now here's today's challenge. Choose one task you're planning to do today. Before starting, estimate how long it will take. Write down your estimate. Then start the task. When you finish, write down the actual time. Don't judge yourself. Just compare the two numbers. You may discover that you consistently underestimate certain tasks. That's valuable information, because once you know your pattern, you can plan better. Before you leave, answer today's question in the comments. What usually takes you much longer than you expect? Getting ready? Cooking? Studying? Traveling? I'd love to hear your answers. If you enjoyed today's English listening podcast, don't forget to subscribe to Become a Fluent English Speaker. This is Laura, and remember, good time management isn't about doing everything faster. It's about understanding how long things really take. Keep listening, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next podcast.